If you're an ambitious high achiever, you might think that your greatest advantage is your ability to get stuff done. The thing is that productivity without recovery will eventually cause you to crash and burn. The mistake isn't working hard, it's treating recovery as though it's something you earn instead of something your body requires. Today, we're going to talk about why recovery is the key to expanding your capacity and everything you want to accomplish. Welcome to Wellness for High Performers, where ambitious people discover the path to sustainable wellness that actually feels good so they can build the dream without burning out. I'm your host, Erica Jones. I'm a wellness strategist and entrepreneur, and I help high performers create massive momentum by weaving wellness into their daily life. I want you to think about your dream car right now. Imagine it. Maybe it's a Mercedes, a Bentley. Right now, I'm thinking about an Aston Martin. I want you to see it in the color you choose, the leather interior that you'd like, and I want you to see it decked out with every high end finish that you desire. Do you see it? You got it? Awesome. Now, I want you to see yourself in the driver's seat looking absolutely incredible and driving your dream car somewhere that you love to go. Are you feeling the feels? I am. So stay right there with that thought. Now tell me, would you, after buying your dream car, never change the oil, ignore the brakes, skip routine maintenance, or bypass rotating your tires? Absolutely not. You would never, and neither would I, because over time, that car would suffer a lot of damage and eventually become inoperable. And yet, the truth is that many of us maintain our cars better than we maintain our own bodies. We treat our bodies like machines, always on, never stopping, never giving ourselves a reprieve or a break. And this is the recovery mistake that nearly every high performer makes at one point or another. It's also why so many are exhausted, overwhelmed, and on edge. We're going to talk about the importance of recovery today on the podcast. And when I say recovery, I'm talking about far more than just taking a nap, though that definitely can be a part of it. Recovery is anything that intentionally replenishes your physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual capacity so that you can continue performing at your highest level. And there's a reason why high performers miss this more than anyone else. It's because we love productivity. We love measurable results. We love marking things off the list, feeling like we're getting stuff done, right? It's tangible. We can feel the progress. But recovery feels a little bit different. It's not always measurable. The results are there, but they're a lot harder to quantify. And because of this, it makes recovery feel like it's optional. It gets pushed aside because we often don't perceive that it's quote unquote moving the needle the way that other activities do. Naturally, we like to prioritize where we can see visible results. I'll give you an example of this. My friend wanted me to try these health patches that are supposed to activate stem cells and they're reported to have all these health benefits. So I bought some because I love her. She was selling them and I wanted to support her. And there were a lot of people saying that they had great results with them. So I ordered them and I wore them diligently, like every day for a few months, but I never saw any improvements to my health. I mean, there was nothing bad for sure, but also not anything noticeable, nothing good, which I'm okay with that if I can at least take a lab test and see some kind of a difference. So, for example, I don't necessarily feel different when I take my multivitamin, but I can at least measure the results with functional lab testing, which I do a couple times a year to make sure that my levels are optimal. But I didn't experience any positive results with these patches, and when it comes to investing my time, my energy, my money, it needs to be worth it. And this is partly why it can take time to invest in recovery. We have to believe that it's worth it. But that mindset shift doesn't just happen overnight. It can take time to adopt that new belief system because the truth is that without recovery, we're not able to sustain the results that we're working so hard to obtain. And sometimes you have to dig a little bit deeper and identify the underlying life experiences that may be driving the beliefs that you hold. And so for me, when I was looking at this for myself, I recognized that I was raised by really strong women who taught me strength through adversity. My grandmother raised 6 young kids for years on her own while my grandfather was deployed in the military. It was an extreme situation that she was in, but she thrived because of her mindset. And I saw that modeled repeatedly by the women close to me as a child and as a young adult. It's strength through adversity. And a lot of high achieving women have a similar perspective. We're trained to admire grit and tenacity and pushing through and being resilient. And these are powerful, amazing qualities that have probably gotten you to where you are on some level. I know that that's definitely true for me. But with every strength, there are potential downsides. And the downside is that when strength and grit are the focus, you learn to override your body's signals. It's like that change oil light that comes on in your car, but you're just like, I don't want to deal with that right now. So you ignore it. You can't ignore it forever. You've got to deal with it at some point because your car is going to start malfunctioning. But we do the same thing with our bodies, right? And it's easy for us to normalize feeling low energy. It's easy for us to normalize a lot of the things that are commonplace in society today that are not really normal. They're just common. So, for example, you might have brain fog or a headache, or you just might feel wiped out mentally or emotionally. And instead of listening to that signal your body's giving, where it's saying, I'm fatigued, you might say, I'll just fold one more load of laundry. I'm guilty of this too. This is why I'm shedding light on it so that we can bring awareness. It's that moment when your brain feels fried and you say, I'll just get through a few more emails. Or rather than resting after a crazy week, you think, I'll just volunteer for this one last thing. This is the life that many people are living. It's where overriding your body's signals becomes automatic and listening becomes foreign instead of intuitive. The other thing is that some of us have our identity wrapped up in what we accomplish. So we're in a perpetual state of doing and being productive because if we're not, then it has serious implications for who we are. So we develop unhealthy mindsets that treat recovery like it's an inferior activity instead of something essential for us to thrive. And sometimes the mindset is, well, those that need recovery are weak and they're less than. But rest is inherent in the fabric of all humanity. God himself rested on the seventh day of creation, not because he needed to do so, but because he's demonstrating the rhythm of life for people to follow. One thing I had to reframe for myself is that recovery is not weakness. Recovery is often an indication of maturity. It's recognizing that we have limitations. Our bodies are not machines that can be pushed to exhaustion. They are to be stewarded. And that doesn't mean that you can't recover until the work is done. I used to think that I needed to earn my rest. I'd say to myself, I'll rest when, this launch is over, or the house is clean, or the kids are a little older, or when work slows down, or my inbox is empty. But have you noticed that the work is never finished? I mean, it's literally never finished. There's always work to be done, whether it's in the business or at the house. So if I'm waiting and you're waiting until everything is complete to earn our right to rest, then we'll never recover. And so I had to stop thinking that recovery is something that I earn when fill in the blank. It's simply a right that I'm entitled to because I'm a human being. I'm allowed to recover. I'm allowed to rest. Say it out loud with me right now. I'm allowed to rest and recover. Okay, so this is all great, but what can we actually do about it? Well, one thing you can do is recognize that there's a constant pull on your attention, and that constant pull is dragging you away from the rest that many of us need. Just being aware of this kind of gravity on your attention helps to curb from the digital drugs that we're all being offered regularly. And this is part of why we struggle to recover because even in our downtime, we're still connected to our phones and our email and Netflix and the news and social media and whatever. All of this is keeping our brains in a perpetual state of on. It's a big reason why people struggle to sleep. They're stimulated all day. And then they want to hit the pillow. They want their head to hit the pillow and just fall asleep right away. And it's really hard. I talk about this in the article that I wrote on Is Your Bedtime Routine Destroying Your Sleep? I have an accompanying podcast with it as well that we can link in the show notes. But if you're like most people, yes, your bedtime routine is disrupting or maybe destroying your sleep because most people have lost the skill of powering down. And yes, I believe it is a skill, sadly, to be able to exist without being plugged into some kind of technology for longer than a few minutes. So, my point here is that awareness of our technology use is very helpful for stepping out of the matrix and promoting us to be in a state of recovery. Secondly, we can also become more aware of what's happening in our bodies, our physical state. So before you grab your phone or launch into that next task or project, ask yourself, how do I actually feel? What is my energy like? What does my brain feel like? Am I mentally clear? Am I emotionally depleted? Our bodies are constantly giving us signals. Maybe you need a drink of water or a snack. Maybe you need to walk outside for a minute or lay down. Maybe you need a later start to your workday that morning because you're exhausted from the weekend. Do that if you can. Maybe you need less intensity in your workout that day. These are all forms of micro recovery that we're at liberty to adopt at any time if we're listening to our bodies. And the great thing about this is that recovery does not reduce productivity. That's another lie that I want to highlight. Recovery actually expands your capacity because when you truly recover, you're able to come back with more energy, more focus, more creativity, stamina, patience, emotional regulation, all of the things that it takes to accomplish your goals. I look at it like this: I'm powering up my batteries so that when I'm ready to get back in action, I have more bandwidth to get stuff done and be effective in my mission and goals. And if I don't do that, then I'm always operating at a deficit from a place of lack. I don't have enough energy. I don't have enough focus or clarity. I'm overwhelmed. I'm fried. I'm burned out. That's a lot of the self talk that people have these days because there's not enough space for recovery. And so, without intentional recovery, that's the place you start operating from on a regular basis. And nobody wants that. So, in closing, here are my thoughts. Number one, recovery is not optional, it's foundational. Everything else that you do depends on it. Number two is that your body's giving you feedback every day. Start paying attention to it. Number three is to build recovery before you think you need it. Don't wait until burnout forces you to do it. You'll actually accomplish more from a full tank versus running on empty. All right, so that's it for me today. Thank you so much for listening to Wellness for High Performers. If you want more support, head to elevaze.com. That's ELEV as in victory, AYS.com. And join me inside the Elite Edge. That's my weekly inspirational email for high performers like you who want to thrive while they achieve. If this episode helped you, please take a moment to share it with a friend or a colleague or leave me a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Keep protecting your energy, keep honoring your well-being, and I'll see you in the next episode.